For about 200 years, most Appalachian families never bought a bar of soap. They didn't have to. They were making it themselves, out of two things almost every homestead already had: the ash from the winter's wood stove and the fat from the year's hog. The whole process cost pennies. The soap lasted forever in storage, and it cleaned everything from a coal-streaked face to a stack of stained sheets. When supermarket soap came along, the wood ash kettle didn't get banned. It got quietly replaced, because the new bars were cheap and they didn't burn your hands. But the old recipe still works exactly the way it always did. And it's worth knowing why. Here's the $2 secret behind 100 years of mountain soap making, and the safety line you absolutely have to respect. Old-time mountain soap is almost embarrassingly simple in its parts. It takes two ingredients: wood ash and animal fat. Hardwood ash, the gray powder left at the bottom of a wood stove burning oak, hickory, ash, or maple, is loaded with a compound called potassium hydroxide. That's the active ingredient. Soft woods like pine give a weaker ash, so the mountain families used the good hardwood ash they had plenty of from the winter's heating. The fat side was usually lard, rendered down from a hog killed in late fall. Sometimes beef tallow, sometimes bear fat in earlier days. Whatever the family had. The whole soap-making operation lived on the calendar of the homestead. You burned the wood through winter, you butchered in late fall, and somewhere in there you put the two byproducts together and made the year's soap. The cost, in actual money, was about as close to zero as anything got. The ash was a waste product. The lard was a byproduct of meat the family was eating anyway. Today, if you bought hardwood ash and lard at retail, you might spend $2 or $3 on what a single batch of soap requires. The hill folks paid nothing. The method had two stages, and the first one is the part the modern world forgot. Stage 1 was leaching the lye out of the ash. A wooden barrel would be raised up on stones with a small hole drilled in the bottom. The barrel was filled with hardwood ash. Rainwater, soft water, important, was poured slowly through the top. As the water trickled down through the ash, it pulled the potassium hydroxide with it, and the dark amber liquid that dripped out the bottom into a stoneware pot was lye water. The old test was the egg or the feather. Lye strong enough to float a fresh egg, or burn a feather dipped into it, was strong enough for soap. Anything weaker, and you ran the water back through again to concentrate it. Stage 2 was cooking. The lye water and rendered fat went into a large iron kettle over a fire and were simmered together for hours, stirred constantly with a long wooden paddle. Slowly, the fat and the lye reacted with each other. This reaction is called saponification, and the mixture thickened into soap. The old hands could tell by sight and by stir-feel when it was ready. When it was, the soap was either poured into a wooden box to cool and harden into bars, or left soft in the kettle and used by the scoop for laundry. The whole job took a day, and the result was usually enough soap for the family for the year. Old-time wood ash soap was a working soap, not a fancy one. It was strong. It cut through the grease and grime of hard outdoor work. It cleaned laundry, dishes, floors, hands, hair, and almost anything else. It was a single-purpose tool that did every cleaning job a family had. But the trade-off was that it wasn't gentle. The chemistry of lye soap leaves a higher pH than modern soap, and the early batches especially could be harsh enough to redden the hands of anyone working with it daily. The hill folks accepted that. They were used to weather and work that was harder on the skin than the soap was. It also wasn't particularly pretty. The color was usually a dull yellow or gray. There was no perfume. The bars were rough cut from a wooden mold. It was a working person's tool, sitting on a working person's shelf. Modern soap, when it came to the country store, was milder, cleaner looking, and scented. The supermarket bar didn't burn the hands of a homemaker with chapped winter skin. It didn't smell like a butchering. It was a real improvement in a lot of ways. So most of the mountain families gradually stopped making their own. They had the recipe, they had the materials, and they still could have, but the bought soap was easier and gentler, and they let the old kettle go cold. If this is the kind of mountain knowledge you want more of, our free Appalachian Almanac goes out every Sunday. One real method, sourced and tested, in your inbox. Links in the description. Now, if you want to try this, the safety part, which matters more than the recipe. Before anything else, this is critical, and I want to say it clearly, because the cheerful old recipe videos skip it. Lye, whether you leach it from ash or buy it as crystals at a hardware store, is genuinely dangerous. It is a strong caustic. It will burn skin on contact. It will permanently damage eyes if it splashes. Its fumes are harmful to breathe. Children and animals must be kept away from it entirely. This is not a paranoid disclaimer. People do hurt themselves making soap, and the burns are real. The rules are not complicated. Always wear safety goggles, not glasses, goggles. Wear long rubber gloves and long sleeves. Work outside or in a very well-ventilated space. Never use aluminum containers or utensils because lye reacts violently with aluminum, stainless steel, enameled cast iron, or heavy stoneware only. And the one rule that traps a lot of beginners: when you mix lye with water, always add the lye to the water slowly, never the other way around. Pouring water onto dry lye can cause it to splash and react. The finished soap, after the saponification is complete and it's properly cured, is no longer caustic. That part is fine. The danger is in the making, not the using. For most people getting interested in this today, the right move is to skip the ash leaching stage and buy food-grade lye crystals, sodium hydroxide, from a hardware store or a soap-making supplier. The chemistry is the same. The result is more predictable, and you skip the variability of the old method while keeping the spirit of it. The modern home soap-making world has dialed and tested recipes by weight, with precise lye-to-fat ratios that give you a safe, gentle, fully saponified bar. A basic lard and lye soap with a few ounces of olive oil or coconut oil for milder skin feel is about as close to the mountain bar as you can get, with much more reliable results. Most beginners use what's called the cold process method now. Mix the lye and water, let it cool, mix it with the fats at a similar temperature, pour into a mold, and let it cure for 4 to 6 weeks before using. The cure time is non-negotiable. A bar that hasn't cured fully is still chemically active and can irritate skin. If you do want to leach lye from ash the original way, it's a legitimate skill and worth knowing, but treat the lye strength carefully. Without a way to measure it, batches can come out lye heavy and harsh. The egg float test is a rough guide, not a precise measurement. For an everyday use bar, the bought lye is the honest recommendation. Wood ash soap was never a miracle. It was an example of a quiet kind of intelligence the mountain families had in everything they did, taking the leftovers of one part of their life and turning them into something the family needed. The wood gave heat and ash. The hog gave food and lard. The ash and the lard, together, gave soap. Nothing went unused. That's the part worth carrying forward, even if you never make a single bar. The world they lived in didn't have a category called waste. Everything had a second job, and a third one if you were clever enough to find it. A modern household, by comparison, throws away an astonishing amount of perfectly usable material every week. The mountain families would have found that incomprehensible, not because they were romantic about thrift, but because they understood, in a bone-deep way, what work and money were worth. You don't have to make your own soap to learn that lesson, but it's worth knowing that for 200 years, the family standing at a kitchen sink in the hollers was washing up with something they made themselves, out of what their own lives produced. Cheap, effective, permanent. That's the Appalachian way of solving a problem, using what's already in the room. The chemistry behind saponification, the historical references on Appalachian soap making, and the modern safety guidance on lye are linked in the description. If you want all of these methods in one place, the Appalachian Way Field Guide has 47 of them with the original sources behind each one. Link below. Real methods, real sources, real history. That's the Appalachian Way. We'll see you Monday.